Advisory services are offered through Creative Financial Designs Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities are offered through CFD. Investments Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer, member of FINRA and SIPC. 765-453-9600. Diamond Financial Group is not associated with the CFD companies.
Good afternoon. This is Jason Murphy, your host on Money in Motion, right here on News Talk 1077 and 1400 The Hub. And I'm excited today because I have a guest like no other. I have a guest today that will be talking with us today about a few different things, but we are going to get a little bit personal today. And the guest is none other than my very lovely and amazing wife, Jennifer Murphy. She is the guidance counselor at White County High School, and she is also has her own private practice as White County's first and only LPC. She is a licensed practicing counselor and helps people with world difficulties and emotional problems and everything from family counseling, addiction counseling, lots of different things. I'll ask her a few questions about her business and let her explain that a little bit more on how she helps people. But before we do this, I do want to remind you that if you have any financial questions, specifically, if you want to spend some time making a plan for your maybe retirement future, or if you have any large purchases in store for you coming up in the near future, in the next few years, I can help you with some planning with that. But the main thing I do is help people invest in their retirement for the future. And I'm helping people that are anywhere from in their teenage years, especially those that have an earned income. If you have a job and have an earned income, or get a 1099 or a W-2 and file taxes, then I can really help those type people with some investment and tax savings as their money grows throughout their life. Love helping people in their early 20s or even mid 20s or even teens that have a earned income that want to start saving some. And I would just highly encourage that you set those habits early in life. If you get used to giving 10% of your income every week, every month, to God, and also an additional 10% to yourself, and living off the other 80%, you will be financially sound. I know someone won the lottery this last week. It was, $700 million, which I can't even fathom that kind of money. I wish they would call me so I could help them invest some of that money. But playing the lottery, not a sound investment, people. The lottery is a tax on the poor. This is not just my opinion. It is fact. And the odds of you being struck by lightning twice sitting where you are right now is more likely than you actually winning the lottery. And so I just really don't recommend that. The best way that you can kind of guarantee some lottery type of future is to start investing. And with the power of compounding interest, you can get some money that will truly make a difference and can change generations. It can actually you can create a legacy that will change generations if you'll start investing and start saving now. No matter where the market is, I encourage you to start now. I've told people this week that the number one reason that people don't start, that they never start investing, the only thing that stops them from investing is starting. So I encourage you to get started, even if it's with $50 or $100 a month. Just get started. So, but I am going to talk with my wife, and we're going to go over a few things and kind of tell our story. And so good afternoon, baby. How are you?
I am great. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, for real. So if you don't care, just tell people a little bit about your background, what you do, and about your private practice.
All right. So I come from a big family. I'm a middle child, and so I've always kind of been a helper. My mom said she knew from the moment I walked through the school doors that I was a helper, and that was just kind of what God had laid on my heart to do with my life. And so went into teaching, and I taught for 8 years in the classroom, and then God called me out of that to do school counseling. And so I'm in my 9th year of school counseling, but somewhere along the way, it was actually when I was a cheerleading coach, he said, I want you to help other people individually. I want you to help them figure out what their purpose is. I've shown you what your purpose is, and so I want you to help others find their purpose. And I said, okay, I don't know what that means, but I'll do it. And like any Christian should, I said, show me the horizon and I'll just aim toward it. And so I did, and went back to school and became an LPC. And I searched around because you have to do some clinical hours. And I searched around for someone to do some clinical hours underneath. They have to supervise you as part of that. And kept calling. And I couldn't find anybody to supervise me, in my hometown in Sparta. And they said, we always have to send people to Cookeville because we don't have anybody. And based on that, God just showed it to me. And he said, I want you to practice in your hometown. These people everywhere need resources. They need someone that they can count on. You're gonna fulfill out the next part of your purpose doing that. So I've been practicing for 4 years as a private practice and in addition to my school time job. And God has used me He's changed me a lot too along the way, but He's used me in a great capacity to help people figure out what their purpose is and get back on track. And, I liked what you said just a minute ago about investing. And I said, the hardest thing is starting, I've seen that on Pinterest and I've seen it on Facebook, and it says, the hardest part of your workout is putting on your shoes. Right. The hardest part of going to a counselor is going to the first and calling and just, saying, hey, I need you. I need somebody. And so just that first step, don't be scared of that first step. Cause there's people out there all over the place that can help you, figure out what you need to be doing with That's your right. life. So
that's awesome. Something you said reminded me of something that we've been teaching our boys, and it's the definition of an authentic man of God. Mm. And I've been going through a book that I would highly recommend that is titled Raising a Modern Day Knight. America is one of the only cultures in the world that does not have a clear-cut pathway to becoming a man. And this book kind of helps you do that for your boys, but it teaches them the definition of an authentic man of God. And those 4 things are an authentic man of God rejects passivity, accepts responsibility, leads courageously, and invests eternally. And so we talk on this show about investing money, but we're also about investing in your psychological health today. Right. And we're also talking about investing eternally. So we're going to talk more about that. And we're going to talk more with my lovely bride, Jennifer, and tell our story when we come back right after these messages from my sponsors right here on News Talk 1077 and 1400 The Hub.
Death and taxes. The only things that are certain, right? Everyone's in the market for a car at some point, though. That's what I found after living on this earth for so many years. Well, my frugal family found itself searching for a vehicle. With all my dad's advice from years and years of working on cars in the back of my mind, my husband and I strolled through car lots for over a month, searching for our perfect vehicle. Well, we found it right here in Cookeville. One rainy day, we walked into Nissan of Cookeville with a list of tough questions and a written down budget. Scott Davenport met us at the door, answered every single question, and addressed every concern we had. He made a potentially anxious situation as easy as I've ever experienced. So stop by and see my friend Scott Davenport at Nissan of Cookeville, or reach him at 528-7715. That's 528-7715. Nissan of Cookeville.
When we at Diamond Financial Group decided to open our new office, I knew I wanted to update my new computer, so I went to the professionals at the Computer Doctor in Sparta to discuss my needs. They took the time to find the perfect combination of professionalism and portability I wanted to effectively and efficiently do my job. In addition to great customer service, they also saved my business money by providing us with a state-of-the-art phone system that will surpass our business needs. Since then, the professionals there have always delivered every time I had a technological need. Call my friends at the Computer Doctor for your personal and commercial needs at 837-4357 or go see them at 180 Churchill Drive in Sparta. Again, their phone number is 837-4357.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Jason Murphy, right here on News Talk 1077 and 1400 The Hub. And you've been listening to Money in Motion. But today we've been talking a little bit deeper than just about investing in your finances and in your future, although I've mentioned some of that in the first segment. I've been talking with my amazing wife, and I wanted to let you guys get to know me and even her and our path a little bit. In fact, I was talking to a client earlier today that was very excited about hearing this show because she knows my wife and she knows me, but she's never really heard our story. And so a little shout out to my friend up on the mountain in Bondecroft that is listening via the internet, because I found out, and I didn't know this till recently, that you can go to the 1400thehub.com. If I'm not mistaken, that is the exact website, but you can always just Google 1400 The Hub. Go to our website that we have for the station here. Click on the live viewing or listen live. I can't remember exactly what it says, but listen online or live online, something like that, and you can listen in. And so I'm going to be letting a lot more people know about that want to listen to this show and many of the other great shows that happen right here at the Hub. So I'm going to go ahead and let Jenny talk some more because you guys hear me all the time, and going to let her tell our story, and we're going to tell the full story. You know, we're not going to leave out a lot of stuff. I mean, we can tell the story. We've practiced telling it in 30 seconds, or we can tell it in 30 minutes. And so we're going to give you about the 6-minute version here as we go forward. So, baby, in your words, go ahead and tell us how we ended up together.
Well, first of all, I don't think y'all understand the fact that he's letting me tell the story versus him tell the story, because he just always does. He always loves to tell the story. And so I asked him, I said, are we going to do the shortened version? Or are we going to do the long version? Which version are we going to do? And so that's why I think he's letting me do it, because he just tends to get carried away. He loves telling our story. So, like I said, I'd been a middle child, been through lots of education, and was a good learner, but never really learned how to feel proud of myself. And I'd always trusted in my education and in my brain, but never really trusted my emotions or my own dealings with people. And so had some rocky, rough relationships, but ultimately in 2007 was just in a different place mentally and emotionally and spiritually. I was content. You know, the Bible talks about being content, and I don't mean content in a lazy type fashion, but content in I was happy with what God had given me. And if He was by my side, I had everything I needed. And when I got to that point, I feel like that's when it clicked and God was like, you know, she's ready. And so at that point, I was teaching English in a classroom, and I had my phone in my pocket, and I'm not one of those types teachers. But my sister was in labor at that point with my nephew, and I had my phone in my pocket on vibrate. You know, she was in the hospital actively giving birth, and I was waiting for a call from my brother-in-law to tell me everything was a-okay and I could come visit the baby and such. And my phone rang, and it was a Cookville number.
Time out.
See, so, I told y'all. He just
because I have to give you the other side of the story. That's kind of where she was in her life at that point, and was kind of ready for something to happen. But in my life, if you back up 6 months, I had gone through a divorce, which I hate divorce. I despise it. I encourage, if you're having marital difficulties, to do your absolute best to work that out.
Call me. I can help.
That's right. But I did want to, after 6 months of hell and torment of me going through a hard time, it was around the 1st of January 2007, on New Year's Eve, actually, on December 31st, that is. So New Year's Eve, I ended up around a table with a group of friends reading the Bible to bring in the new year instead of drinking and partying or what have you, and found joy again. I found a joy that surpasses all understanding and a peace that could only come through Christ Jesus. And I chose to be happy again in my life. And about 4 days later, I decided to go out and buy a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. I'm very proud that I am a member of CMA, the Christian Motorcyclists Association, and that kind of started at that time with me buying a motorcycle. And the next morning, Friday morning, I woke up and realized I had to pay for this motorcycle because I did something I don't recommend today, and that is I bought it on credit and realized I needed to start making some phone calls. At the time, this is, like I said, in 2007, a little over 10 and a half years ago, and I needed to pay for that motorcycle. So I started making phone calls as fast and furious as I could that Friday morning, and I was a fundraising consultant trying to call a band director, and I called a wrong number. Go ahead, baby.
So my phone vibrates in my pocket, and I see that it's a Cookeville number, and I didn't answer it immediately. I expected him to leave a voicemail. Got my kids busy on something, stepped out in the hall. Nobody left a voicemail, and so I was, worried because I didn't recognize this number, didn't know what was going on, so I called it back, which is something I don't ever do. I mean, I don't usually ever call a number back that I don't know. Called it back, and it was Jason. It was that very wrong phone call that he had made had reached my phone. Turns out that we had been in the same building a couple years going back, and he had that phone number in his binder for over 3 years and had never flipped to it, never occurred to him to call. And I still, to this day, we don't know how he got my number. But for some reason, for a God reason, like I alluded to earlier, I feel like God knew I was ready and Jason was in the right place, and it's all about timing. And so we talked for a few minutes and set a date on that very first phone call. And
total, complete blind date. No
date.
Friends in common, had never even seen each other.
And that was not like either one of us really at all. So it was like God just took over and was like, all right, I'm ready. I want to write the next chapter in the love story. And he did. And so 6 months and 9 days later, we were married. My mom told me, and I'll never forget this, Mama, she said, Jenny, I've heard you debate longer about whether or not to buy a television and spend money on a TV than you have been to be with this man and his kids. And I said, well, Mama, that should tell you something. I know I have an assurance from God that like I've never felt before. And she said, all right, if you're prayed up and that's what you believe that God is telling you, she said, then I'm going to support you. And she has been. She's been our biggest supporter ever since.
That's right. So, hey, we're going to talk a little bit more about this story and tell you a little bit more about Jenny and Jason when we come back right here on Money in Motion. I'm Jason Murphy, your host from Diamond Financial Group, and you've been listening to News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
646-5519. Those numbers may not mean a whole lot to you right now, but you're going to want to write this number down. My name is Jennifer. My husband and I, we're frugal people. While we like to get a lot of value for our money, to say the least, we stretch every dollar. So last year, we decided that we wanted to refinance a mortgage on our house. We did our research, and that's when I met Barbara Steeving. Her official title is loan officer. She's not just thorough, not just thoughtful. She actually anticipated my family's needs throughout the whole process of the refinance. And trust me, folks, when I say they were tricky needs. She was just amazing. Can't say enough about it. By the time the process was over, I called her my friend. You can be friends with Barbara. All you need to do is go to Willow Avenue in Cookeville next to Jackson Plaza and go into First Volunteer Bank and tell my friend Barbara Steeving that you're there to save money, and she will do it for you. The number is 646-5519. So stop by First Volunteer Bank and see Barbara Steeving.
Member FDIC insured and equal housing lender.
This July, my wife and I will be celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. I am so excited, and I want to do something special. To celebrate this amazing event. You see, it was about 10 and a half years ago that I proposed to my wife, and at the time, I couldn't afford to give her the ring that I wanted her to have. So this year, I'm going to surprise her with not only an anniversary band, but I wanted to do something special to replace and improve her engagement and wedding band. I looked around and asked many people who could do the best job for such an important event, for such a special person in my life. Let me take a minute of your time to tell you about a longtime friend of mine from high school, Matt Phillips. Matt Phillips is now the owner and master jeweler at the Jewelry Emporium. I have been working with Matt and the professionals at the Jewelry Emporium to create the perfect ring for this special occasion. When you're ready to pop the question, or you have that special moment in life that you want to celebrate with the perfect ring or jewelry, the professionals at the Jewelry Emporium will take the time and pay attention to every detail to make sure your moment is right. Call my friends at the Jewelry Emporium at 526-8366 to celebrate your next big event with that perfect symbol.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Jason Murphy, on Money in Motion from Diamond Financial Group, located right beside Poets on the Square at 228 East Broad Street. Stop by and see our new office. I'm really proud of the remodel that we've done there, and how J.D. Parks, our landlord, is an amazing man that has cleaned up and painted that entire building, and catty corner from the courthouse right there on Broad Street. So stop by and see us sometime. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. If you want to get a hold of an amazing therapist that can help you from a Christian standpoint, Jennifer Murphy is the person you need to get a hold of there. You could probably Google and find information about her, or you could just simply email me at moneyin.motion@cfdinvestments.com. That's moneyin.motion@cfdinvestments.com. So feel free to contact us, reach out. Feel free to call the office, 646-4090. That's 646-4090. And I'll be glad to talk to you, and we'll get you taken care of. I can get you in touch with her. And so we've been talking and telling a little bit about our story, and I want to get back to that, but I did need to tell you all something else real quick before I do. And what that is I'm a veteran. I think a lot of you know that. I'm a 20-year retired Air Force veteran, spent 10 years active duty Air Force, and then 10 years in the Air National Guard. And I am very proud of our country. I consider myself a patriot. And so I have been asked and have agreed to start a local chapter of AMVETS. In fact, we're looking at even having AMVETS radio on this station, which will be another 30-minute show we'll do in some time slot that works, very possibly right following my show, coming up maybe in the next month or so, if not sooner. So if you are a veteran and you're interested in helping other veterans, in having an organization or being part of an organization that will help you with your benefits, or receiving additional services, or finding out about how the community or businesses can help you as a veteran, you would probably want to be a part of our organization. We're going to meet the fourth Monday of every month at the Veterans Services Building right there on Spring Street, behind the post office or next to the fire station. I think most of you know where that is, on Spring Street there. And but feel free to contact me if you want to be a founding member, a charter member of Post 44 of the Highland AMVETS. So back to what Jenny and I were talking about. We shared our story, and God has blessed us over the last 10 years.
Most definitely.
In so many different ways. And I think, in fact, I know that one of the number one reasons for divorce in first marriages is finances.
Hands down, yeah.
And financial difficulties. And so getting on the same page, getting with a counselor that can advise you how to start your life out as a couple, because I truly am a believer. I know everyone out there will not agree with this, but I believe that if you're married, that you need to be one. You need to come together in unison with your finances, with your bank account, in your decisions on how you spend money, on how you choose to make money as a couple and as a family. I believe that you need to pay tithes. Jenny and I had that discussion at the very beginning of our marriage, and we have not failed in 10 years of our marriage to pay 10% of everything that we've earned. Of every dollar we've received, we give 10% to our local church or to God in one way or another. Normally through our local church, we give our tithes, and then offerings are above and beyond that. And so when we give to the school or a good organization like Young Life or Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA is what I was trying to think of. But there's so many good organizations out there that you can support, but those do need to be above and beyond the 10% that you give to your local church. And you all have heard me talk about that before. But so I know Jenny has helped couples and that have struggled financially. I've actually done some unofficial couples therapy when it comes to finances and budgeting, and would love to help you all with that. But Jenny, do you have anything to add or that you want to talk about when it comes to finances, or maybe a story of anyone that you've run into that has had some difficulties as a marriage or in a relationship financially?
Well, sure. For all of us, money is very personal. We attach to money. We learn at a young age the value of a dollar, and it becomes very personal to us. And I think one of the hardest things, I've done premarital counseling, I've done newlywed counseling, and I've done people who have been in, years and years of marriage who still aren't on the right page as far as finances go. And the Bible tells us to leave our father and mother and cleave to one another. And I'm in complete agreement with that, because you've got to be able to leave that, and it becomes one, and you become one flesh, you become one mind, one body, one spirit. And that is partly your finances. But part of that, and what I run into in therapy so many times, is that people are not willing to budge on how they view money and how they spend money. And so it's just, sometimes it's breaking them out of the mold and out of the habit of seeing money in the same way that they saw it as a single person, is part of the problem, and it's part of the solution too. So that's where good therapy comes in. That's where a good mentor comes in, a good financial advisor comes in, someone who can see it objectively, strip it of its emotion, and help you see your money in a different light, so that it becomes a resource, a tool that you're using for God instead of just an extension of you, because your money isn't an extension of you. Right. You're put on this earth to be a steward of your money. It's one of your very many resources, along with your time and your efforts and your talents and your gifts. But your money, and just finding someone who can help you put it to its God-given purpose, is part of the biggest struggle.
It really is. And setting some ground rules from the very get-go in a relationship, in a marriage, is something that I would highly recommend. Actually having those conversations before the marriage, agreeing to combine checking accounts, that we're going to have one money, but we're going to have some rules that, hey, if you're going to spend more than $100, we're going to talk about it. I mean, if I need to buy fuel or go to the grocery store, and it's different for every couple. It might be $50 for one couple. It might be $500 for another couple, depending on your income and the rules that you set in place as a couple. But setting some ground rules are really going to make a huge difference in getting on the same page. A lot of you know that I got my start in finance going back, nearly 20 years ago. It was around 98. So that's 19 years ago, by me getting involved with Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University course. That would be a great way for the couple to come together as a team and do that. If you want more information about that course, if you just want to talk to someone who has taught it a dozen times or so, if you want information from a financial objective point or from a marriage counselor point, feel free to reach out to me or Jennifer. Again, my number at the office is 646-4090. I thank you so much. This time went by so quickly today, but I hope you enjoyed the show and listening to me and Jenny share a little bit about our life and our finances right here on Money in Motion. And I thank you for listening to News Talk 1077 and 1400 The Hub.
Advisory services are offered through Creative Financial Designs Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities are offered through CFD. Investments Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer, member of FINRA and SIPC. 765-453-9600. Diamond Financial Group is not associated with the CFD companies.
Hi, this is Jason Murphy with Money in Motion. I want to tell you about a friend of mine, Tammy Smith, with Master My Score right here in Cookeville. You see, she's a credit consultant and helps people get their credit score up so you can buy that next house or an automobile. I recommend my clients call Tammy Smith to fix their credit score. For more information, go to mastermyscore.com or call 996-7375. That's 996-7375.
Affordable, effective, reliable, and proven. Since 2001, Painter's Dream Productions has provided website design and audio-video production services. Since 2008, we've added social media marketing and search engine optimizations to our portfolio of services. Our job is to take you to the next level. We have an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, and to see our work or for more information, visit us at paintersdream.com. Would you like a free consultation? Call 931-488-1002.